What's good, e-bikers? So these are the two workhorses of the e-bike world. You're looking at two 60 amp hour e-bikes, the Aniioki AQ177, the Tesway X5 Pro. We'll compare them both next on the channel. Let's go. If you are new to the channel, I'm Chris Cross. I've been doing e-bike reviews and rides and accessories for over 3 years now. So hit that like button, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for many more e-bike videos coming in 2025. All right, let's get to this. All right, so I've had both these e-bikes for a number of months now, put hundreds of miles on each bike, and really tested them out. And they're both, I know they're definitely first thing come to term is a workhorse. These are 200-mile e-bikes in terms of range with pedaling. 100 miles on throttle only, so you can't go wrong either way in terms of range. That's where they both stand out, and that's thanks to these large 60 amp hour 52 volt batteries. You see the Tesways there is a vertical one. We've got the Aniioki one here on the down tube, 52 volts, 60 amp hour, and they will take you a long way and really have to be charged. You can basically ride these for a week to work and never have to charge them. That's how much range you can get out of these bad boys. All right, let's start breaking down these e-bikes, some of the components. We'll start with the tires. First of all, these both rocking 20x4s. These are CSTs, these are Kendas. I think I prefer the Kendas a little bit better, just as a aesthetic standpoint. They've got that reflective rim tape there. The Crusades, these are the CST big fat tires, 20x4s. And they're wearing a little bit more than the Tesways are at this point. I forget how many miles I have. There's hundreds of miles on each bike, so keep that in mind. Now they both share the same brakes. Now we'll take a look at the Aniokis here first. They're both rocking these DY Island brakes, and these are pretty nice because all you do is pull out one of these pins here. I think it's this one, and you can pull out those calipers without taking the whole brake caliper off. You can take out the brake pads right here. So you just unscrew that little bolt right there, and you can pull out those brake pads and replace them. I've done that already on the Aniioki. I actually bought a set of brake pads from Aniioki on their website because these were starting to squeak after a couple hundred miles, and but they both share the same brakes. The Aniioki's rocking this kind of a thicker brake rotor here. It's a 180, but it's pretty thick overall. It's got a really nice thickness to it. Now that's compared to the Tesways rotors, which is more of a, it's a 180 as well, traditional kind of bike-looking e-bike brake rotor. And here's the DY Island brakes as well, so they're rocking the same brake system, and I think both are pretty good from just my experience so far. In terms of suspension, they both have dual suspension e-bikes here. You got the twin front forks. Here you've got the single fork with the lockout and preload. There is no lockout and preload on the Aniioki at all, so you can't do that. But they're both rocking the rear shocks back here. These spring shocks. You can't really adjust them, but they're both basically the same. This has a yellow color, or gold color, and these have the red. I did put some gold reflective tape on there as well. Both these bikes are pretty modded up. You can go back and watch my videos on each of these. The Tesway does fold, though. That's one of its unique features. Fold right here, as you can see. It's got folding pedals, and the stem does not fold down as well, though. But it will fold in half. So it is a little more of a portable thing if you want to put it into a back of an SUV. I wouldn't do that with the battery in it because this thing weighs 112 pounds or so. They're both very heavy e-bikes, and there's no folding mechanism on the Aniioki though. So keep that in mind. Each bike, you can get a version of the Stepover version for each bike. A little bit different name, I think, on the Aniioki, and that's the Tesway. The Tesway has the X7 with that more of a step-over frame, and you get a different handlebar, just a T-shaped handlebar on the Tesway when it comes to the frame styles. Let's talk about power here. So the Tesway has a 1,000 watt motor in the back with 1,600 watts of peak power, and the Aniioki has a 1,000 watt motor with 1,200 watts peak power. However, the Aniioki is a faster e-bike, just off the line. It's got more torque to it versus the Tesway does. That's probably one of my knocks on the Tesway. It's a little bit slower off the line, takes a little more time to get going up to speed. But once you do get that pedal going and the throttle going as well, you can get full throttle to 32 miles an hour in each of these e-bikes, so it's a nice touch. And I would say both these e-bikes are great for food deliveries. That's what I've been using them for. As you can see here, both of them have racks and bags on the back. Now, I'd give the nod in terms of e-bike food delivery to the Tesway because the rack is bigger. It's about 11 by 17, I think, is the roughly overall dimensions. I just fit this bag I got off Amazon in here. And you can see it's pretty wide space. I can fit 2 big McDonald's bags in there. And it's done well. While the Aniioki is more of like a 11 by maybe like 15-ish. So I had to put a smaller bag in the back. So ideally, you know, with food delivery, you can't get 2 bags sometimes, and it could be a challenge to fit stuff in there. But for the most part, you can make do with it. Neither e-bike has turn signals, but you can see here the Aniioki has that front motorcycle style headlight versus the teeny tiny one on the Tesway here. I only ride during the day, so I don't really care about headlights, and not really much importance to me. But it does look better, I think, on the Aniioki overall. Let's talk about the styling. I think, from my perspective, you know, both these e-bikes are quite similar in their appearance. I prefer the Tesway, though. I like the mag rims we got going on here. I like the all-black look. I think it's just a overall nicer looking e-bike from its stance and overall frame design and the way they just laid it out. So I'll give it a nod there. Versus the Aniioki, which is a little more V-shaped in there. You got the spoke rims instead of the mag wheels. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit, it's just my perspective only. Yours may differ. I do think the Tesway, I give it a nod on the styling aspect in terms of each e-bike. Both these e-bikes are under $2,000. I think the Tesway is like $16.99, and the Aniioki is around the same. I'll put links in the video description here. Definitely click the link if you want to purchase one of these. I'm an affiliate, and I do make a small commission on each purchase. Helps out the channel there, so appreciate that, guys, if you're watching and thinking about buying one of these long-range e-bikes. Let's talk likes and dislikes. We'll start with the Aniioki first. So dislikes, I think it's got a short kickstand here, and that's been a challenge for me. This bike has tipped over a couple times because of the way it leans. I got it on the grass, half on the pavement here. But it's a pretty short kickstand, and it fell over more than once on me with the wind. Even when it was parked levelly on a level, the wind just knocked it over. Thankfully, the rack helped it because it fell on the bottom over here. You can see the scratches. So that kind of saved the handlebars and the levers and stuff from getting damaged. So the rack helped in that respect. But yeah, it's a little bit tippy when it comes to its stance and that kickstand down there. The rack, of course, it's a smaller rack. They don't sell a bigger one, so you're stuck with what they have there. I have a little battery issue with this thing, so you can see here, battery just slots into this cavernous bottom part of the frame here, and it's got a zip tie on there because initially when I first got the bike, it was not locking in place when you put it down. So I just threw a zip tie on there just to keep it in place, just in case. Eventually it was starting to work better, but I rarely take this off anyway, so it's not an issue for me. But keep in mind, I did have some problems with the locking mechanism initially on the Aniioki. And what else? The brakes had to be replaced after like 300 miles. Brake pads, I mean. So they just started to squeak. and I had to get the new brake pads from Aniioki to fix that. So dislikes on the Tesway, I'd say the torque overall, that the Aniioki gets off the line much faster. So I wish this thing had a little more torque to it, even though it's supposed to have a bigger torque number than the Aniioki does. Also the display, it's a pretty basic display. You don't get any voltage, no percentages for the batteries. That's a real knock. And this is just a very basic display that comes with the e-bike overall. And as you can see, there is a USB port here for the Aniioki, for the Tesway. The Aniioki does not have that, and I really appreciate that because when I'm doing food delivery, I can charge my phone in right here. It's got this extra cable, and it mounts nicely to my phone mount here, and keeps my phone charged while delivering food. What do I like about the Aniioki? I think the overall power is great. It's also got these great NFC keys for security purposes. So when you want to start the e-bike, you have to turn it on and then use the NFC key to turn that display on. The display is pretty, it's black and white. It is kind of hard to read in the day, as you can probably see there. It's not very bright overall. I did have to increase the brightness in the settings. You can do that. But a very basic display on the Aniioki, but not too bad. But the overall power is pretty great. I love the handlebar style up front here. You got the bigger headlight, and you can see some of the accessories I put on it just to bring that gold accent out. I think the color choice they did with it, the black and the gold there, just really makes it stand out and pop. And I think the best things about the Tesway are the looks, of course. Those mag rims are just awesome. I always love mag rims. Prefer those probably over any kind of spoked rim e-bike, just as a general rule. It's got a nice handlebar as well. Got the BMX style. Really cool looking. And the rack as well. Decent sized rack for doing food deliveries. I kind of wish it was, they didn't make it stick out so much and did it horizontally, but is what it is. Also, this bike fell once too. You can see here the scratches. So the rack saved the ends over here. You can see a little bit of scratch on it, but yeah, these are my Aragon grips I put on there. And overall, it's been a really nice bike for me, and core part of my e-bike fleet here. The turning radius of each bike is a little bit different. So on the Aniioki, you're limited here. That's about as far as you can go either way. You can kind of see that there. Let's take a look at the Tesway. On the Tesway, you can get definitely more of a 45-degree angle with the e-bike, even more. So you have a better turning radius here with the Tesway, which can be an issue for some folks. All right, I got the Tesway here. Let's do I got my stopwatch. I just want to verify that this is a slower e-bike. So we'll do a 0 to 20 test here. Okay. So that was 7.79. All right, let's try the Aniioki. 18, 19, 20. 7.95. So they're about the same. Well, I don't know. This feels a little more torquey off the line, even though the stopwatch didn't say. I just feel like when I hit that throttle, I get a nice little boost of power. Here's what I mean about the tippiness of this e-bike. It's on a slightly angled ground here, and that wind is just taking it. So I just don't like the angle of this kickstand down here. It's got to be careful when you're parking this thing.